It's a lot easier when the battle is on the outside of the city. Sometimes it comes in. Sometimes bitterness comes knocking on us. Say, let me in. I'm your friend. I'm going to help you in this situation. And then we open the gate. And we let bitterness come inside. Because he said he was our friend. And he was going to help us. And then he starts eating like cancer. Now the battle is on the inside. No longer on the outside where it was supposed to be. When the enemy gets on the inside, it's a lot harder to win the battle. And the church needs to be on the battlefield, fighting to save. Let me tell you, a soldier never goes to the battlefield to save his life. He always goes to save his country. And that's exactly why we're up there. Not to fight for this guy, but to save a dying world. And tell him there's a better way. Don't let the devil bring the fight into your home, into your life, into your church. And I tell you, in Canada, the devil has brought the fight forward. And I think we as a church, we got to start battling. We got to start battling. We got to get out there and get ready to fight. Are you ready to fight? Tonight, or you say, oh, I'm willing. Get yourself ready. It says, put the whole armor on. Put the whole armor of God on. You put it on, and you get yourself ready. You learn how to use the sword. This thing swings pretty good. It's only one thing that this thing needs. It's a good soldier. It's a good soldier. It's the only thing this thing needs. A soldier ready for battle. And that's exactly what we are asking tonight. We want soldiers that can swing this sword. We want to get ourselves ready, but we have to learn to swing. We have to get ourselves ready. Young people, what is 4 years in Bible college just so that to learn to swing the sword? If you live to be 80, that's only 5% of your whole life. That is very little part to get yourself ready. Why does it always have to be our own plan? Why is my life? God, I'm yours. I'm yours. Use me. Why can't I go and say, God, I'll be your special soldier. I'll be the one that you can use to do whatever. I lived my life for a good number of years. Guess what I did? Made a mess. That's the only thing I was good at. I was professional. If you looked up mess in the dictionary, there's a picture of me. That's the only thing I knew how to do, is make a mess. And say, God, you're not only giver of life, but you know how to live. You know, he spent 3.5 years in ministry to teach people how to live. He came not to just give us life, but he showed us how we could live. And he says, you surrender yourself to me, and I'll make you that soldier you ought to be. You say, I don't want to fight. Let me tell you tonight, the devil still will. You say, I don't want to stand up in my home. The devil's still going to go after your home. And he's going to take you and use you against those that do want to fight. If you don't fight. If you say, I'll just take neutral ground, the devil's going to take you and he's going to turn you against God's good soldiers. And he's going to make a mess. God says there is cold hot, but lukewarm is not any good. And he say, I want to take the middle ground. God says, no, there's only two teams. There's only two teams. You can be my soldier, or you're signed up for the other team. ready to fight, ready to preach the gospel. Paul was ready to preach the gospel in Rome. But let me ask lastly, ready to meet Jesus. One day Jesus is going to come. There won't be any forgiveness at the judgment seat. There won't be any mercy at the judgment seat. There won't be a second chance at the judgment seat. Boy, I wish I would have. Now's the time. Now is the time. No forgiveness. God just have mercy. Oh, mercy. He says you passed the time of mercy. Now judgment. Now it's no more grace. Now it's what have you done with your life. Grace was in time of past. Mercy kept judgment from going. But mercy stepped aside and judgment came in. And now we're going to wish I would have done something with my life. Now we're going to wish that mercy that we took so for granted would come back. Now we're going to wish that grace would come around just one more time. But not a second chance. Judgment. What have you done? Full force. Jesus looking us right in the eye. And I say, but, and he says, there's no but words around here. No but where you don't use that word around here. No buts around here. He says, now we'll deal with it. Are you ready to meet Jesus? I'm not asking if you're ready to meet mercy. I'm not asking if you're ready to meet grace. I'm not asking if you're ready to meet hope. I'm asking if you're ready to meet judgment. I'm not also not asking if you're willing to go to heaven. I'm asking if you're ready for judgment. Now's the time to get ready. We don't know if we have tomorrow. God is always willing. God is always ready. Psalm 86:5 says, for thou, Lord, art good and ready to forgive. He's not like man. Sometimes you run to man and ask for forgiveness, and they give you the cold shoulder. They say, you don't deserve forgiveness. Look what you did. But God is not like man. God is always ready to forgive. How many times did he ask Peter to forgive in a day? And that's not what he said he would do. That's what he asked Peter. Wouldn't Jesus do better than the advice he gave? He's always ready. Hey, God is just standing by, and he's ready. So many times we have this little sin and we come to Jesus and we want to just dump it in his garbage can, and then we want to run off and do our thing again. But that's not forgiveness. When we come for forgiveness, Jesus doesn't say, I'm glad you dealt with it. He says, I'm glad my son is back home. See, Jesus didn't die for sin. He died for sinners. Not so that we could come and make Jesus our garbage can, but that's so we could come running home. I remember when I was probably about 8 years old. We lived on a farm and we were very poor and we didn't have shoes in summer and we always walked barefoot. And we had about probably 20 acres of land and we had some cattle and some horses, and me and my brothers, we would play. And I was walking outside and I was always a deep thinker. At 8, I built the world. Didn't look as good as the one God did, but it was a pretty good one. But here I'm deep thinking, I'm walking my thought, and all of a sudden I'm standing. And this is soft. And it wasn't a cow pie. When I looked down, it was a big snake that I was